Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Now, of course, today's episode is going to be slightly interesting because it's revolving around the 2020 presidential election, but it's not. The Democrats this time, wait, there was things, like, there are other parties aside from the Democrats that are actually doing stuff for the 2020 elections? I didn't know. Of course, with all this whole media debacle about, like, the Democrats and the fact that it's not an open office, but it's, like, a really big thing for the opposition, the quote-unquote opposition party to have someone run. It's a bit inevitable when there's 20 candidates. But anyways, before we get into what the actual topic of the video is, let's get right into the news. And first, it's a debunking. Bernie Sanders 2020 is in trouble. Oh no! How is he in trouble? Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign is in trouble. While much of the attention in the post-debate polling focused on the drop of former President Joe Biden, Sanders' polling looks far worse. Sanders' Iowa and national polls are quite weak for someone with near universal name recognition. Sanders was just 14% in CNN's latest national poll. That's down from 18% in our last poll. As important, Sanders is now running behind California Senator Kamala Harris, 17%, and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, 15%. These are candidates who have lower name recognition than he does. Oh no! Does that mean all of the burners have to go support Elizabeth Warren now? Because, the media is pretty much telling me Bernie's campaign is over, so I guess we have to, follow suit. Sorry guys, it looks like Bernie's campaign is over. I'm gonna have to officially endorse Kamala Harris now. I'm gonna officially endorse Joe Biden because he's clearly the front runner. The polling never lies. There was polling that showed Hillary Clinton with 98% chance to win the presidency last election. I need to go support, him now. I need to go support Joe Biden now. It doesn't matter if he sexually assaulted women. I gotta support him now. Oh, wait a second. Have we actually looked into the depths of a lot of these polling? Because much like other kinds of polling in this regard, it's not entirely as black and white as it seems. Again, mostly oversampling older voters, and of course that whole thing about but Warren and Kamala, they're above Bernie now. Well, yeah. They're gonna naturally get a bit of a bump after the debates. But here's kind of like polling stuff that I've seen. Yes, there have been some polls that have shown Bernie down, but here, like there's a website called Our Campaigns that kind of amalgams all the polls, and it inevitably shows the average poll percentage for Bernie is still above Warren and Harris. And of course, most of this polling is because the people just remember Joe Biden? Yeah, I remember Joe Biden. Yes, of course, I'm not going to deny that there are some polls that show him down to Warren, or him down to Harris. Here's pretty much Bernie's polling in, looking at the Our Campaign stuff, here's pretty much Bernie's polling: 19%, 14%, 23%, 17%, 13%, 16%. And here's Warren's: 12%, 15%, 11%, 22%, 14%, 9%. And then Kamala's is 12%, 17%, 11%, 21%, 20%, and 10%. Yes, of course, it does show some polls Kamala's doing fine. I would argue Kamala's now doing fine out of the most corporate Democrats. But if you actually analyze the polls are stabilizing at this point now. So, Bernie, his campaign is not over. Especially considering the fact that they were saying his campaign was over before any polls came out. I highly doubt that the campaign is over. We have to wait until people... Wait, hold on. You have to wait till the field narrows so that the people who are going nowhere leave. And hold on, we have to wait till people cast their vote. Unthinkable. People casting their vote actually being the deciding factor in regards to the presidency? You must be blowing my mind. So yeah, I'm not buying into the whole Bernie's campaign is over BS. Because again, this is part of their narrative. This is part of their narrative. Like, oh, these left-wing ideas, they may poll well, but if you actually look at the people and analyze what the people want, they want Bernie. Like, I mean, it's like polling in the there was like a 19, I don't know, I forget which election it was, but it was like the one with Wendell Willkie versus FDR, and they're like polling, and they're like, Wendell Willkie's so sure to win the presidency. Huh, why did FDR win? I mean, we polled all of the rich people. I don't see how... The polling is always going to be skewed in some way. Undersampling younger voters, oversampling older voters, etc., etc. People who aren't really that informed. So, yeah, it's inevitably... Just don't buy into a lot of the poll stuff. The poll stuff isn't really that much prevalent, to be honest. You gotta actually analyze what the people want and poll the issues. Issue polling is better and more efficient. Like the most recent polling in regards to Medicare for All are like, hey, are you in favor of Medicare for All? And then 53% of all Americans are like, yes. And then you say, what if I tell you that it eliminates private insurance? And then they go, oh no, 43%. But then they say, wait, hold on, let me finish. What if I told you that it abolished private insurance, but you get to keep your doctor? And then it goes to 55%. So yeah, the actual version of Medicare for All polls well. So yeah, you're actually going to have to take a look at the issues. And when you actually analyze the issues, Joe Biden, he does not do well. So anyways, next story, coming south of the border. Mexican president says he would like to disband the nation's army. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said on Monday he would like to disband the army and put national security in the hands of the new National Guard militarized police force, though he recognized the proposal was unlikely to happen. In an interview with Mexican newspaper La Jornada, the leftist president said that he favored guaranteeing the nation's security through the National Guard, which he formally inaugurated on Sunday. If it were up to me, I would get rid of the army and turn it into the National Guard, declare that Mexico is a pacifist country that does not need a military, and that would the defense of the nation, if necessary, be done by all. Only a few countries in the world have abolished standing armies, among them Latin American countries of Costa Rica and Panama. Mexico's army has traditionally kept to the sidelines of the international conflict, but has been deployed to tackle drug gangs since 2007. López Obrador recognized the political challenges to eliminating the military, adding, I can't do it because there's resistance. One thing is what is desirable, and another thing is what is possible. So yeah, AMLO is trying to be a bit more lefty than most people. I mean, even I would say, are we gonna actually, are we actually going to have you abolish the military? Because I highly doubt that would be feasible in any regards. There's not much I could say about that because it's an idea. It's kind of like Andrew Yang and his circumcision idea. It's like, yeah, he could inevitably try he could inevitably be like, I would actually like to ban circumcision, but I'm not going to do it because why would I? I mean, it's up to the parents' decision. So, yeah, that's it for that story. Now, this story is interesting because, I mean, just listen. In astonishing turn, George Soros and Charles Koch team up to end the U.S. forever war policy. Besides being billionaires and spending much of their fortunes to promote pet causes, the leftist financier George Soros and the right-wing Koch brothers have had little in common. They could be seen as polar opposites. Soros is an old-fashioned New Deal liberal. The Koch brothers are fire-breathing right-wingers who dream of cutting taxes and dismantling government. Now they have formed something to agree on. The United States must end its forever war policies and adopt a new foreign policy. In one of the most remarkable partnerships in modern history, Soros and Charles Koch, the more active of the two brothers, are joining to finance a new foreign policy think tank in Washington. It will promote an approach to the world based on diplomacy and restraint rather than threats, sanctions, and bombings. This is a more radical notion in Washington, where every major think tank promotes some variant of neocon militarism or liberal interventionism. Soros and Koch are uniting to revive the fading vision of a peaceable United States. The street cred they have brought from both sides of the political spectrum, along with the money they are providing, will make this new think tank an off-pitch voice for statesmen amid a Washington chorus that promotes brinksmanship. I'm pretty sure when people were saying bipartisanship is key, I don't think this is what they had in mind. The billionaire conspiracy theorists, like, the thing that conspiracy theorists are like, George Soros secretly controls Hillary Clinton and is secretly a mind game for her. Like, I didn't really think that that's what they meant by them teaming up with each other. I mean, to be fair, it could inevitably work. I mean, if we honestly, if they actually do succeed, I would argue maybe their money could be beneficial, but I don't really think that having Charles Koch giving money to something is necessarily a good idea. Especially considering what he did to the Tea Party. The Tea Party did well at first, but then the Tea Party kind of disappeared. Legitimately, who cares about the Tea Party anymore? We kind of went to the other side of the political spectrum for that regard. We're going to Justice Democrats as opposed to the Tea Party. So yeah, now let's move on to another story involving the border. Inside the secret Border Patrol Facebook group, where agents joke about migrant deaths and post sexist memes, members of a secret Facebook group for current and former Border Patrol agents joked about the deaths of migrants, discussed throwing burritos at Latino members of Congress visiting a detention facility in Texas, and even posting a vulgar illustration depicting Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez engaging in oral sex with a detained migrant, according to screenshots of their postings. This is fucked up. These are the people that are in charge of our borders, and this is literally some of the things that they said. Groups responded to indifference and wisecrack. There was a story about a 16-year-old Guatemalan migrant who died in May while in custody at a Border Patrol station, and one member posted a GIF posted that GIF of Elmo shrugging and going, "Oh well," and another one responded, "Well, if he dies, he dies." And then they said, I'm 1015. 1015 is border control for aliens in custody. They have a picture right here of Donald Trump, having Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez suck his dick. Ooh, so scary. They were saying Veronica Escobar and AOC were when they were announced that they were gonna go meet, and there were a lot of I forget who exactly was going there. I think it was just Escobar, Ocasio-Cortez, Juan Castro, I believe, and a couple of other people. I don't know who. I don't remember who. I tried to find a list of all of the representatives that went to the border, but they didn't really tell me. Nobody gave me a full list of people who were actually there. So I'm only going by some guesses. When they got there, they snuck a phone in and took pictures. There was a whole fight about how AOC was yelling at Border Patrol guards, and they were like, "AOC yelled at us." Ooh, scary. A Latina woman yelled at you. Actually, you know what? Latina women yelling at you is pretty scary, so never mind. I get to say that because I'm Hispanic, so I get to say that. I've never had a Hispanic mom, but I get to say that. I know how they are. They were throw burritos at these bitches. Fuck these hoes. There should be no photo ops for these scum buckets. And yeah, they literally have AOC, pictures of AOC blowing people. It's like, these are the guys that are in charge of our fucking border. This is children talk. Like, yeah, fuck these hoes. Yeah, no? You're fired? I mean, but Donald Trump isn't gonna do that because everyone's gonna be like, ooh, yay, hooray, Donald Trump is getting rid of the children, these literal children. Ooh, he's making them drink out of toilets. That's so cool. That's exactly what America needs for its border. I mean, why doesn't France try to adopt its border patrol like this? I mean, France has lax immigration, so why don't they just make the immigrants drink out of toilets? I don't think they're going to come into the country anytime soon if they're going to drink out of toilets. But I mean, there's also a lot of other things in regards to this border that I didn't really get into because a lot of other bigger news channels, even the ones that are quote-unquote fake news like CNN and MSNBC, like, I mean, there is one big factor that most people kind of forget that is really, really bad. And it's kind of like, it's stupid. It's the reason why right-wingers are easily able to get away with this whole making the left bad. Like, Freedom Tunes, he's consistently like making fun of left-wingers or like left-wingers. Like, here's basically what's happening in regards to that. Left-wingers go, this is an inhumane policy. Right-wingers respond with, oh, but when Obama was doing it, you didn't cry at all. And then left-wingers try to rebuttal by that by saying, Obama didn't do it. When in fact, he did. I don't know if Obama started the child separation policy. I don't know if he started these policies or if he was just continuing what George Bush did. But, I mean, he did. And, well, it's a bad thing. I mean, I'm going to criticize. I mean, Bernie was a candidate that was saying, like, I'm going to end this border separation policy, but he was saying that when he was running in 2016. Bernie is willing to call out both sides of the political spectrum on this. Like, I mean, okay, to be fair, Obama's not part of the left in any regards. When we, like, my teacher always kept saying, like when my poli-sci teacher kept saying, like, oh, the left, whatever, he just talked about the Democrats, but it's like, it's not. He's really not. So anyways, I guess I'll move on to the next story because I don't know much about this immigration policy. I mean, I know about the immigration policies, but I don't know much about the stories that are going on as of right now. All I know is what the news has been saying, and well, and I mean, you don't know if the news is 100% trustworthy, but in this regard, I think they're being at least more trustworthy than they are in a lot of other ways. Like, if they just added, like, oh, by the way, Obama did this too. Next scene. And they'd be fine. Cherie Thanedar is moving to Detroit with plans to run for political office. Former Democratic gubernatorial candidate Cherie Thanedar is moving to Detroit with plans to run for political office. I will definitely be on the ballot, but I have not decided for which position, Thanedar told Metro Times. The Ann Arbor businessman, who spent $10.3 million of his own money on the 2018 gubernatorial race, edged out his primary election opponents in Detroit, but came in third statewide behind Abdul El Sayed and now Governor Gretchen Whitmire. Thanedar became popular in Detroit because of his focus on the city's impoverished neighborhoods. Thanedar's announcement comes less than a month after Mayor Mike Duggan strongly suggested he's running for a third term in 2021. Thanedar said that he wants to run for political office to help the people of Detroit. Improving the quality of life in neighborhoods will be my focus, he says, adding that he wants to work on public transportation, public safety, entrepreneurship, the inner city, affordable housing, and more. Fake progressive alert. We got a fake progressive on the loose. So yeah, I'm not excited for Cherie Thanedar to try and run again for political office because, you know, he's a fake progressive. What do I mean by that? Well, during the Michigan gubernatorial race, he was running as the candidate that was, quote,
the most progressive Democrat running for governor.
So progressive that not only did you give money to John McCain, You appeared at a Marco Rubio rally, being quoted by your allies saying that you were enamored by Marco Rubio. You left animals behind at your animal testing facility. And last but certainly not least, you actually considered running as a Republican in the same race. Now, there have been progressive Republicans that have run for office, obviously. We have the likes of, the former progressive Republicans like, Robert M. La Follette and, Hiram Johnson and Teddy Roosevelt. And more recent examples like Rob Rearcy and Sam Ronan. But I mean, given the info that I just stated, maybe he isn't the, quote, most progressive candidate in the race. I remember seeing, I remember there was, one ad that said, he was the closest to Bernie in the race. But I think I might have that confused with just him saying the most progressive candidate. But anyways, I mean, it doesn't matter anyway. Abdul El-Sayed for the win. Abdul El-Sayed is way better than you, Cherie, in every stretch of the word. So, yeah. Abdul El-Sayed for Senator of Michigan in 2020. Anyways, now let's move on to the next story. 8-year-old mini AOC child actor is forced to quit social media after receiving death threats over her impressions of the congresswoman. A child actor went viral for her impressions of Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, says she has stopped making videos because of death threats. Ava Martinez, 8, from Rancho Santa Margarita, California, who became known earlier this year as Mini AOC, posted several videos earlier this year in which she mocked a freshman congresswoman. But her family said on Wednesday that she would stop making the videos and they would remove existing ones due to death threats. Gee, maybe having your 8-year-old child involved in a big political stunt is not a good idea after all. Now you might say, many people have been saying, oh, Mini AOC is so funny, ha 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 ha, it's so hilarious. I mean, I didn't watch Mini AOC because I didn't fucking care. I didn't care. Who gives a shit? Ooh, an 8-year-old child is making fun of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? That's so hilarious. I'm just rolling on the floor laughing. That's just amazing. The pinnacle of comedy. In fact, every comedian should just fucking kill themselves right now because Mini AOC had made the pinnacle of comedy. You've got to be fucking kidding me. This is literally just a mom pointing a camera at her daughter and saying, say this, say this, say this. That's it. That's the entirety of Mini AOC. A mother who is politically conservative is telling her daughter, repeat this because this, and this. I mean, there's nothing else to say. And she was like, oh, we were doxxed. What do you mean you were doxxed? You went on Fox News and said your names. What? If you can't handle the attention and the possible hate that you would get online, don't go online. Don't be an internet personality. If you can't take the heat, get the fuck out of the kitchen. There have been people who have insulted me and put mean comments about me. I mean, if they dox me, I'd probably be a bit more scared, but they're not gonna dox me because I'm not gonna put my address on this channel. I got personal accounts that I can use for that. And I've actually seen conservatives that have actually went in response to the Mini AOC, stuff, said oh, but this is a young girl expressing her political views. You think she knows what the fuck a socialist is? I doubt she even knows who AOC is. I doubt she knows AOC is real. I think she just thinks it's a thing her mom made up or something. because no 8-year-old is going to tell you the difference between democratic socialism and, actual socialism. But yeah, now let's move on to a story about 2020 in regards to the debates. There is, of course, going to be more debates, obviously. The second debate is going to... pretty much here's how the second debate is going to... the second debates are going to have the same qualifications as the first two debates. 20 candidates, 10 a night, 65,000 individual donors, and /or polling at 1% in at least 3 national polls. Then there will, of course, be tiebreakers in deciding if more than 20 candidates qualify. So, pretty much, even though this isn't technically supposed to be the time to break down, and, the third and fourth debates is pretty much the debates that are going to define, who's really gonna win. This is pretty much a chance for any of the... This is, as far as I know, these two first debates are pretty much trying to get, the kid a chance. They're like, yeah, Tulsi, I know you're polling at this much, but let me give you a chance. Let's see if you'll actually do well. So, here are the candidates that have qualified so far for the second debates. Joe Biden, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, Julian Castro, Tulsi Gabbard, Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, Jay Inslee, Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Marianne Williamson, and Andrew Yang. These are the guys that have qualified for both reasons. 65,000 individual donors, and they have the polling threshold. These are the 7 candidates that are currently only have the... There are 7 candidates that have only met the polling threshold. John Delaney, John Hickenlooper, Tim Ryan, Michael Bennet, Steve Bullock, Bill de Blasio, and Eric Swalwell. Then there's, of course, Seth Moulton, Wayne Messam, Mike Gravel, and Joe Sestak, who have met neither threshold. Of course, as I said, there will only be 20 candidates on the stage, so really the one thing you might be slightly concerned about is because now 21 candidates have qualified. So, out of them, who's the most in danger of losing their debate seat? And it's actually a candidate that you might not be surprised about. Eric Swalwell. Because Eric Swalwell currently has an average of 1% in 3 national polls. Whereas Bullock has 5, Bennett has 6, and de Blasio has 8. Those were the candidates that people were concerned that would lose their spot. Or gain a spot, so it looks like it's going to be the end of Swalwell's campaign. I think he's going to be the second person to drop out. Yeah, that's right, I said second person because, in all honesty, Mike Gravel is the first person that's going to drop out of the race. Because, well, his whole campaign was to get into the first debate. And he's actually actively still trying to get into the July debate. But inevitably, he realizes it's probably not gonna happen. So he's gonna be, announcing that he's supporting Tulsi Gabbard pretty soon. So, yeah, we're gonna wait to see how that goes. And speaking of debates, there is one more exciting news for the debates. Because as I said before, the third and fourth debates are gonna be a lot more tougher to get into. Because now you need 130,000 individual donors with 400 per state in at least 20 states. And you have to get 2% in 4 polls. So yeah, it's pretty much just adding another number. The candidates that meet both criteria for the debates are Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. No duh. And thanks to his first week haul, Beto O'Rourke managed to get in via the donor threshold. But the big news is, much like last time, someone managed to get their way into the donor threshold again. Andrew Yang, back at it again. Even though the Hill of Roses stole Mike Gravel from me, I win again because I legitimately was the first person to talk about the Andrew Yang candidacy. I'm not joking. Second Fireside Chat, fourth video on this channel. Look it up. Andrew Yang's in the thumbnail. I discuss his candidacy. I'll include a link in the description showing that I was part of the Yang Gang before it was cool. I was in almost every single Kyle Kulinski, Mike Figurino, Jimmy Dore, everything, pretty much all their comment sections saying, are you going to talk about Andrew Yang? Are you going to talk about Andrew Yang? Are you going to talk about Andrew Yang? Talk about Andrew Yang, Andrew Yang, Andrew Yang. I remember back when Andrew Yang was considered a minor candidate via Wikipedia standards. Now look at him. He's going for the long run, my boys. I highly doubt that he's going to drop out anytime soon. I don't think he is. He's going to keep going. He's the Energizer Bunny, still going. And go ahead, Andrew. Go all out. You're getting support. They cut your mics, but that's a good thing, because if they cut your mics, it means that you have something that they don't want to hear. That's a good thing. So yeah, I mean, there's also this other story that happened. I mean, all it is Justin Amash quitting the Republican Party to become an independent, but I don't really think that's newsworthy. I mean, it says right here, Justin Amash on Thursday announced he's leaving the Republican Party and becoming an independent months after igniting a political firestorm when he became the first sitting GOP congressman to call for the impeachment inquiry of Donald Trump. Today I'm declaring my independence and leaving the Republican Party, Amash wrote in 4th of July op-ed for the Washington Post. No matter the circumstances, I'm asking you to join me in rejecting partisan loyalties and rhetoric that divide and dehumanize us. I'm asking you to believe that we can do better than this two-party system and to work toward it. If we continue to make America for granted, we will lose it. I mean, he's only doing something that hasn't been done in a long time in electoral politics. He's doing something that, I mean, makes, a lot of, third-party junkies kind of jizz their pants, because, I mean, if he leaves, then that means there might be a chance that a lot of other members of the Republican and Democratic parties leave to either become independents or join third parties. I mean, not only that he might be the new Bob Barr and run in the Libertarian primary and win the election, but, I mean, I don't think it's really newsworthy. Do you? Nah, it's not newsworthy. So let's move on to the smaller. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. This is good, and this was also inevitable. My only concern / moment is that he didn't just flat out join the Libertarian Party. I mean, it would have been way better if he just joined the Libertarians. John Hospers is sitting down rolling in his gay grave. He wants you to be part of the Libertarian Party. That's pretty much been your unofficial home. It's like Han Solo. It's like Chewie. We're home. That's what the Libertarian Party hopes that one day you'll do, Amash. Especially considering you've been in a lot of libertarian publications. So, I mean, it's kind of inevitable that you're going to try and at least see if you're going to run for president. I don't know if Michigan's electoral laws allow you to run for your seat and for president, but I mean, if they do, I'm gonna be okay with that. So anyways, now let's move on to the small candidate of the day, Mark Elworth Jr. He is running under the Legal Marijuana Now party. Yeah, that's right, I finally get to talk about them again. I haven't talked about them in a while. The Legal Marijuana Now party, for those who don't know, is a social democratic party that is in favor of legalizing weed. No duh. They've run presidential candidates, but mostly stay local to 2 states, Iowa and Minnesota. And Mark has run as a libertarian before. He's also run in Nebraska. I mean, I guess they keep a presence in Nebraska as well. They didn't really get that far. Although, to be fair, the Legal Marijuana Now party got a resurgence during the 2018 midterms, much like the Democrats. I mean, it's not even necessarily due to the fact that they were doing well, but they did better than most people took them for. I mean, let me tell you something. Which of these parties do you expect to get in third place? The nationally recognized Green Party, or the political party that's pretty much in, like, 3 states? Surprisingly, Legal Marijuana Now Party actually did a lot better in a lot of states than I give them credit for. In the Minnesota Senate race, like the regular one, not the special election, I endorsed the Green Party candidate over the Legal Marijuana Now Party candidate because I was like, hey, the Greens, they're more likely to get higher than the other one, and neither of these guys are going to win anyway, so I might as well endorse the Green. Lo and behold, the Green came in 4th. In Iowa District 3, Mark Elloth, he actually ran against my candidate, the candidate that I was endorsing in that race. So as you can see, they do actually do a whole lot better in the midterms than I gave them credit for. So, they do well. And it won't lead them to win the presidency, obviously, but it will do well for them. So, yeah. Now, on to the big topic of the video, which is, of course, the Green Party presidential primaries and how I think that they would inevitably play out. Now, most of you probably don't even know that the Green Party is holding a primary, but they are, and they are, well, doing exactly what everyone else does during a primary. Run candidates, and see who wins the most states. I bet most of you assume that Jill Stein and Ralph Nader were just sitting in a room doing rock, paper, scissors, seeing who gets to be the nominee. Well then, if that's the case, how do you explain Cynthia McKinney and David Cobb? Bet you didn't think of that, huh? Now, before we get into the actual primary process, considering you probably don't know, I'll go over the people who are running, are speculated to run, or otherwise. Now, for starters, here are some of the people that are speculated to run as of now. Jesse Ventura is still rather expected to run for the office, but it seems very unlikely that he will. But it's very possible that he is going to run for the office. But, again, it's very unlikely, but he's been a speculated name. And, of course, there's been speculation on Ajamu Baraka running. Ajamu Baraka seems to be among third parties. Usually it ends up being a party founder or the VP candidate of the last election or a returning presidential candidate, etc., etc. So basically, Ajamu was kind of seen as a candidate that seemed like he was inevitable. But, he turns out he didn't really want to run. Daryl Charney, who ran for the nomination last time around, he was considered, but his momentum wasn't as much as most other candidates. But he did make a formal announcement saying he wasn't running, so, you gotta give him that. Elijah Manley was considered for the nomination, but he inevitably decided that he wasn't going to seek the Green Party nomination and would purely run with the Socialist Party. And, of course, the inevitable Jill Stein was considered for the nomination of the party. But unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your views, Jill Stein decided that she was going to do what Eric Swalwell said and pass the torch to someone new. Now, before we get into the people currently seeking the nomination, I felt that it would also be good to go over the ones who are not seeking the nomination, at least anymore. So, for starters, we have Gary Swing. Gary Swing has kind of been active in a lot of third-party politics, but, he's kind of mostly been focused in green stuff, so you'd probably end up knowing. I mean, if you know about him, you probably know him via that regard. He's also more satirical in some regards. He ran against John McCain and got like 5% of the vote. So that's kind of like his biggest thing. I think he's currently running as an independent. He's kind of not made that clear. But all he's really said is that he's not with the Greens anymore and is not seeking the Green Party nomination for president. The next candidate in this category would be Jimmy Ogle. Jimmy Ogle, he was running for the Green Party nomination, but is apparently seeking the nomination of the Libertarian Party now. Nobody really cares about him, I mean, to be honest. But I mean, he's mostly known for the website parliament.org, like the US parliament.org, where he tries to make a US parliament, and he actually ran for presidency in 2014, despite the fact that there wasn't a presidential election. But I mean, that's pretty much his claim to fame. The next candidate on this list is Joe Edward Collins III, who is really weird because here's his presidential ambitions. He started running as a Republican, ran as a Green, went back to the Republican Party, and then decided that he was going to drop out of the Republican primary for president, and instead run in California District 43 against Maxine Waters. And his campaign website, like his campaign Twitter is like full of this BS, like Brexit, rush away, blah blah blah, like this kind of stuff. It's like, ooh, this is so impactful, so like great and powerful, insightful stuff that I never considered before. But I mean, again, it's just pretty much BS. I mean, it seems he's kind of a faker. I mean, I legitimately asked him, like, why'd you leave the Republican primary to run as a Green? And he said, I considered running with the Constitution Party, but I think this would be better. It's like, why? And he's like, because I like Jill Stein. I like her spunk. Okay, I mean, but if you're a small government conservative, as you claim to be, why are you running in the eco-socialist Green Party? Whatever. The next candidate in this category is the most prevalent candidate of the bunch, Alan Augustin. Now, Alan Augustin, he's been interesting because he was running, and then he wasn't, and he was running again, and now he's not. Unfortunately, this is a final decision. He has decided that he is really not running. Like, he is just done running because his health got the better of him. So, and I mean, to be fair, he's actually endorsed another candidate in the race, which I'll get to in a second. But, I mean, it's kind of sad, especially considering, you know, spoiler alert, but he was actually going to be the third Green that I was going to interview. And then he decides, nah, I'm going to drop out because of my health. Ooh, your health. I mean, what's the big deal? It's not like we have to pay for our health care. Oh, right. But anyways, now let's move on to the Greens that are currently seeking the presidential nomination. And I'll give you a little bit of information about them and tell you, like, factoids or whatever. So the first major Green to announce that they're running for president was Sydenham Kinemo Kristen Moyowasifza-Curry. She was the founder of the Green Party Black Caucus, and she ran for president as a Green Party candidate in 2016. She is, of course, I mean, you might know this from the interview I already did with her, but I mean, she is kind of like eccentric socialist type candidate. She was pretty much the person that made the Green Party into an eco-socialist party. Originally, they were just like, oh, we're social democrats that like the environment. Democratic socialist at most. She was the one who made it into an eco-socialist party. And, not playing favorites here, but I actually gave her a logo for free. I literally designed a logo for her for free, just for fun. Why? I felt like it. I want to get involved in this third-party political sphere, so, why not give her a logo? It's not like I'm giving her money, because, socialism is like, no money for me. The next candidate is Ian Schluckman. He was a candidate for governor of Maryland in 2018 against Ben Jealous. Sorry, Ian, but I did not endorse you in that race. I endorsed Ben Jealous. But Ian, he ran a good campaign. Despite what some people might say. But he ran a decent campaign. And of course, with Ben Jealous being the big progressive in the race, he wasn't necessarily going to get that much in the race. So, Ian wasn't really... He was running against an actual progressive, so inevitably, when the Greens are running against an actual progressive, they don't really get them big numbers, because there's an actual progressive in the race. Not saying that the Greens aren't progressive, but if there's an actual progressive Democrat in the race, why vote for the Eco-Socialist Green Party when you can just vote for the progressive Democrat? When the Democrat is a fake progressive, now the Greens are going to get a surge in polling and surge in voter turnout. Not saying that I wouldn't be in that line to vote for Greens. I 100% would. But inevitably, Ian kind of had... It'd be like the equivalent of if Ian was running against Bernie Sanders. It's not going to turn out well. Well, technically he was, because Ben Jealous was endorsed by Bernie Sanders. And, of course, I actually gave Ian an interview, and I wrote an article for Ian, which I'll get to in a little bit, because this is going to be a bit iffy subject line in regards to the primary. So, the next person is Dennis Lambert. He's a candidate for Ohio State House. He was a candidate for Ohio State House in Ohio District 8 in 2014. He's kind of been more of an interesting Green because he's identified himself as a fiscal conservative, and that he's, running as like a veteran. Like, he's basically kind of running as a Tulsi Gabbard in the Green Party primary, which is weird. He's actually been active in like many of the Green Facebook groups trying to get a Green Party Veterans Caucus to come around. Inevitably, it's a good thing. I think that it's good that veterans who are affiliated with the Green Party have someone who is, like-minded to be with. And, the Greens should have a lot of caucuses. My biggest problem with the Greens caucuses, though, is that the Greens caucuses are mostly, they're all, like, identity politics. Lavender Greens, the Green Party Black Caucus, the Latinx Caucus, Disability Caucus. They really need to have more policy-focused caucuses. Like, maybe they can have like a Social Democratic Caucus for all those ones like me who would be affiliated, who would be with the Greens mostly due to the fact that the progressive Democrats didn't do so hot. They should have I'm even open to the fact of Greens having a Green Party Marxist caucus. Whatever. But to be fair, these identity caucuses are just, they're there for being there. I'm not going to stop the Greens from forming a Green Party Black Caucus, because why would I? If black members of the Green Party want to, actively get known, so be it. The next candidate is Dario Hunter. He's a rabbi and Youngstown Board of Education member. He's also gay. So he's a gay Jewish black man. That's his thing. Well, that's not his thing, but that's the thing that you're gonna know him by. Like, with all these Greens, it's like the Green Party is kind of like this. It's kind of like how with the Democrats is like, I have to vote. Like, an advantage for voting in the Green Party primary, if I was gonna vote in the Green Party primary, the one advantage I'd say is that I could actually vote just based on identity alone. Because all these guys are pretty much the same in regards to policies. Like, am I going to vote for the black one? Am I going to vote for the black gay one? Am I going to vote for the white man? Am I going to vote for the other white man? I mean, I'm not. I can vote for based on identity alone. And that's a semi-good idea. I mean, not a semi-good idea. I mean, when all the candidates are literally the same, and not like fake the same, when they're actually the same, you can actually do that. I mean, of course, green voters are gonna be like, I mean, okay, you're gonna be, but are you an eco-socialist, or are you just a socialist? Do you adhere to Marx, or do you adhere to Lenin? They're gonna be, they have their own ideology, style of issues to go by. The next candidate to join in the race is Howie Hawkins, Green Party co-founder and perennial candidate for the Green Party. He's kind of the Joe Biden of the bunch. If Dennis Lambert is the Tulsi Gabbard, then Howie's definitely the Joe Biden. Or the Bernie Sanders. Technically both. I'll explain more when I get to him. All I gotta tell you is, like, I endorsed Hawkins for, New York City governor. I mean, I dual endorsed him and Cynthia McKinney. Because, you know, Greens actually have a presence in New York, so I can endorse the Green Party candidate in the general election and in the primary, because they have a momentum and they have like a presence there. The next candidate is Roland G. Anarjo. He's a college professor and political activist. There's not much about him, really. I mean, he's not. I mean, the last couple of candidates aren't really as big hard hitters, except for one. But we'll get to him soon. Roland, to be honest, the only thing really prevalent for Roland is that I thought his name was Ronald. I mean, if Roland wants to interview, I'll be happy to do it. All these people I'm happy to interview when they want, not when they want, I have my own schedule. But I mean, you know, if they're like, hey, you want to interview, I'll put them on my list. My list has kind of been barren because literally every time I try to set up an interview with another candidate, they leave me hanging. I'm not going to say who, because, you know, that'd be rude. But I mean, I'm just going to say, you know, there have been some people and I've been trying to get on the show and they have not gotten any closer to get on the show. There's been someone that has my email that has never emailed me back, despite the fact that they were the ones who offered to be on my show and I didn't even ask them. There's someone who keeps saying they're interested but left me hanging for 4 hours. But I'm not going to say their names. Let's look on the positives. Maybe one of these guys will be on my show. Next candidate is David Rold, a peace activist. Now, there's not much about David Rold. I mean, apparently, according to the Green Party, their official page about Green Party candidates, he's a peace activist, obviously, and he's in the exploratory committee phase. Now, David Rold, I'm not going to say anything bad about David Rold, but I mean, he has a sign at a protest that shows the Twin Towers, and instead of a plane, it is a flag of Israel that has formed into a sharp edge of some kind and has flown into the towers. Now, Israel didn't plan 9/11. Us giving Israel money made us a target for 9/11, but that's pretty much where the involvement of Israel ends in regards to 9/11. He also has he's changed his Facebook profile picture multiple times to show him supporting Stalin, Hezbollah. He kind of gets like more into the conspiratorial stuff than, most people would. Like, supports North Korea, says the Boston Marathon bombing was done by the CIA. Basically, a lot of stuff like that. And, free to have those beliefs if you want, but, I highly doubt that I would vote for him should Bernie lose and the Green Party offers him as a candidate. I can see myself voting for pretty much all the other Greens in that regard. So anyways, the next candidate is Jason Vaughan. Who's Jason Vaughan? I don't know. I really don't know. His website is literally not clear in any regard. His website is literally Vaughan 2020 Simple Site. Campaign, Newsroom, Jason Vaughan, 24 multi-hour, hyperlink, Irish Unity. Show your support for Governor Jason Vaughan by choosing the hyperlink provided below. You select his name for the list of candidates, then you arrive to the form. But is this like the... Well, that's the Green Party poll that was done. That's the Green Party poll that they're trying to do by themselves. But don't they allow like 5 options? So I don't think it really would help if you do 5 options. But anyways, he's not really helpful. His site doesn't really even list a platform. He keeps saying, Governor Jason Vaughan. What do you mean, governor? You're governor of nothing. You are nothing. Is he just a crazy man? I don't know. He's not been clear in literally any regard. And I have no clue who he is. But the last major candidate who I think is still in the exploratory maze is Reverend Edward Pinkney. He was a formerly jailed political activist, and he ran for Michigan District 6 in 2008. He's kind of your standard green, socialist, social democratic stuff, African American, so of course has the oppressed community kind of regard. So yeah, those are pretty much all the candidates running for the Green Party nomination. Now, the primary has kind of gotten rather weird. Because, in a lot of regards, for starters, of course, there's all these candidates entering and dropping out. Ellen Augustin made the decision to endorse Dario Hunter. So, and none of the other candidates has made a decision in regards to endorsements. In fact, hardly any Green has gotten involved in the endorsement process, with the exception of one. One of the most prominent Greens, Kevin Zeese, has been a very active supporter of the Howie Hawkins campaign. And, of course, being that he's a high-ranking Green and he's supporting the Howie Hawkins campaign, there's been a couple of issues in regards to, hold on a second, wait a second, hold the phone, how would this affect the other candidates in the race? Because the other candidates have kind of been rather, they know the fact that they're like smaller, especially in regards to smaller party, so they're not really going to have that much name recognition as, the Democrats or the Republicans. So of course not every Green is going to know who they are, especially considering there isn't a Green News Network. I think there was a website that called itself the Green News Network. But there's no CNN for the Green Party. There's no MSNBC for the Greens. How will this affect the other candidates? Because before Hawkins entered the race, the highest polling candidate was Dario Hunter, followed by Ian Schlockman and Sedanem Kinamo Kristen Moyowasifza-Curry. And when I asked Green Party candidates, and not Green Party candidates, but I've joined the Green Party group on Facebook, and I've asked them a couple of times, hey, would you answer this question? If the Green Party primary was held today, who would you vote for? And, they've overwhelmingly supported Hawkins, and I think the only other candidate that has gotten that high is Jill Stein when I had her as an option because she was still speculated to run. But of course, there's been, especially considering the last election, Senator Kinamo Kristen Moyowasifza-Curry accused Jill Stein and her campaign of being kind of the favorite of the Green Party. To be fair, she said it was due to white supremacy, when I'm like, maybe not. You could make the argument there might have been favoritism, but I mean, I don't think the election was rigged in favor of Stein for the Green Party primary. I think it was just like, I think that if it was Cynthia McKinney running against Senator Curry, then the same results would have happened. If a prior candidate runs for the nomination of a third party, they're inevitably going to get that nomination, no matter what most other people think. Now, especially considering we live in a post-DNC WikiLeaks era, we kind of want to have some transparency in our election process. And pretty much all the Green Party candidates, minus Hawkins, because Hawkins wasn't in the race at the time, signed a letter basically saying, no matter what happens, no matter who announces, we want a fair process for the election. We want all candidates to get equal airtime on, not mainstream, but like on the news and, stuff like that. We want everybody to have a fair chance to get the nomination. And the Greens posted on their website, which showed, like, at least they're showing that they want to be fair. Then Hawkins announced that he was running for president. And of course, Hawkins is the front runner, technically. So when they posted an official an official thing on their social media everywhere saying, like, Howie Hawkins has entered the race. We're so happy. We're so excited that Hawkins has decided to enter the race, and let's move on. Ian Schlockman pulled up and said, wait, hold on a second. Hold the phone. I don't think this is 100% fair. There was no congratulations to Ian Schlockman for entering the race. Congratulations to Dario Hunter, Senator Curry, Jason Vaughan, Edward Pinkney. There was no official, thing for them, but it was for Hawkins. And I think many prominent Greens changed their... I think at one point I remember that they changed their Twitter background to have it be like a Hawkins thing. I think it was the official Green Facebook group or something. I don't think you're 100% affiliated with the Greens, to be honest, but, I mean, to an extent, and Ian, to be fair, it was like he called them out and said, hey, this isn't fair. And I actually joined in because, yeah, I was 100% on board with that idea. Yeah, hold on, this isn't fair. I mean, I follow the Green Party on Twitter, so I would know if they had made a post saying, congratulations, Ian, congratulations, whoever. I would have known if they made that post. I also played devil's advocate and told Ian, hey, bro, I know you're probably miffed, but I mean, to be fair, this is kind of inevitable. The Greens are a third party. They don't have much name recognition. As soon as they have someone who can take the mantle, they're going to pick someone. Whether it be someone who defects from a major party, a party founder, a previous candidate, it doesn't matter. If Bernie Sanders announced that he was going to run as a Green tomorrow, they would say, fuck all you guys, let's move forward, Bernie's our candidates. They would. They 100% would. And then Ian was kind of like, yeah, but I kind of wanted there to be a fair primary process, unsurprisingly. So, I mean, that was pretty much his gist. That's what he wanted. He's not even asking to win the primary. He's just saying, give me a chance, guys. Ian's pretty much like that like that nerdy kid at school, like, give me a chance and I know you like me. The Green Party then deleted the tweet, but I mean, it didn't really solve the problem. The tweet isn't the actual problem. It seems to be a lot of people's response to this controversy, like, oh, it was just a tweet. I mean, the tweet isn't the problem. The problem is that it was specifically one candidate. I mean, you either give all the candidates equal airtime, or you give none of the candidates equal airtime. And the Greens made that decision. They decided that they were going to, they decided that they were going to give no candidates airtime anymore because Ian complained, which is the dumbest idea ever. Like, think about it. Think about it like this. Ian goes up to the Green Party and says, hey, the Greens are, giving like an unfair advantage to Howie. And the Green Party response is, okay, fine then. If you don't want us to give Howie the screen time he deserves, then nobody gets screen time. How do you think of that? It solves nobody's problems. It solves nobody's problems. It kind of makes you seem more guilty, to be honest. I still don't get why the Greens chose to do that option. Ian literally says, I want airtime, Synonym wants airtime, Dario wants airtime, we all want airtime. If you're going to give it to Howie, give it to us. And the Greens are like, how about nobody gets airtime? Does it make you seem like you're pushing the scales for Howie? That's definitely innocent. Nope, I didn't do that. And that wasn't bad enough. Then Kevin Zeese, who again has been prominently supporting Howie Hawkins, sent Ian an email basically saying, did you really complain about the Green Party tweeting about Howie's campaign? If so, it's self-defeating, yada yada yada. You're telling the Green Party to silence itself, yada yada yada. Why are you running? Your experience is way worse than David Cobb, the worst Green Party presidential campaign ever made, yada yada yada. You should drop out, support Howie Hawkins, yada yada yada. This action that you have done is severely damaging to the Green Party, blah blah blah. So that was in the article. He posted that letter in the article. And, I followed suit with posting it to the Independent Political Report because I honestly felt that it was a good thing to bring up. I got a lot of comments saying, why are you posting this? This is stupid. But, I said it best. A candidate expresses concern over favoritism in the Green Party, like Julian Assange. I felt that it would be best to bring that attention to the Green Party voters. If the Green Party is playing favoritism to Howie Hawkins, or there's speculation or concern that that might be the case, the Green Party voters deserve to know. And if it turns out to not be true, then hurrah, we win. That's all we're saying. This is literally the only thing. On one end, you have Green Party playing possible favoritism, and on the other end, oh no, we're not actually. Great, if they're not, then great. If the Green Party's not playing favoritism, just say it. They're not playing favoritism. And this isn't just something Ian has. Alan Augustin has expressed this concern. Synonym Curry expressed this concern, writing off her concern from the 2016 election. If this many Greens are concerned, then maybe the Green Party should actually acknowledge these concerns and kind of put ease on this. Now, again, I helped contribute by putting it on IPR, which is one of the big guys in charge of third-party news in regards to this kind of stuff, so I felt that it'd probably be the best side to put it on. It's not like I had any other place to put it on. I'm not member of Real Progressives anymore. So, I mean, I didn't really have much other place to put it. Now, I mean, this article, when I posted it on IPR, made a stink because, I mean, there's a lot of active Greens on the, states. Like, there's a lot of active Greens on the site. I'd say there are a lot more Libertarians on the site than Greens. But, I mean, there are a lot of people that would say that this is somewhat concerning. Go to the comments on it. There are some people saying, like, this isn't really anything. It's just someone, like, a tweet was posted and a tweet was deleted. Problem solved. But they're saying is there's an underlying issue with the fact that they were doing this for Howie, but they weren't doing it for, Sydenham or anyone else. They were doing so much for him, but when they asked, hey, can you do it for us? They just decided, nah, we'll just stop it altogether. Now, if you know anything about the Independent Political Report, you'll know that Kevin Zeese is actually a writer on the Independent Political Report. So yes, a fellow writer of mine, I posted an article where he was seen in a negative light. It shows my journalistic integrity because it shows that even if you're my ally, I will use my mighty weapon of the pen to show you that you are doing something wrong and the world must know. Now, Kevin and me and other writers on the Independent Political Report exchanged emails. Now, I'm not going to tell you what Kevin said because, there's nothing really to say. He also said, like, hey, this is going to be confidential, so you can't really report on this unless I give you the okay. And I'm going to give Kevin that. I'm going to give Kevin, like, that because, it's not like his emails actually said, like, yes, I'm conspiring against Ian, and I'm also conspiring against Sydenham. like, if the emails were damning like that, I would be gung-ho and telling you everything, but his emails were really just giving his side of the story, and I'm not really gonna go into in depth, or I'm not even really gonna go into really that much, because, he said he didn't really want them to go public, and I didn't really get the okay to talk about his emails in depth, so I'm not going to. But, I will say, like, one thing that I said to him is, like, just look at it from Ian's shoes. A person who is affiliated with the Hawkins campaign goes up to a candidate who is running against Howie Hawkins and tells them, drop out. That sounds pretty suspicious and damning, if I do say so myself. And I do. But again, like, doesn't that sound a little suspicious to you? Like, if your candidate of choice, like, if the candidate you were in favor of and liked said, like, someone of another campaign went up to me and said, I want you to drop out. Wouldn't that sound like a little bit suspicious and a little bit, like, cheaterish? But again, I would assume maybe if you hear Kevin's side of the story, you might get like I'm not even gonna say like, oh, after hearing his side of the story, I am 100% on board with him. I'm not. I still think that Kevin ultimately is in the wrong here. You're looking at this person and who is expressing concerns over possible favoritism within the party, and just saying, nah, just drop out, dude, you suck. It doesn't necessarily look good / is good. But now that I've talked about all that, how does this bode well with the Green Party? Like, will this actually change how the Green Party is? Like, will there be like a surgence in Sydenham voters, or will there be a surgence in Ian voters? highly doubt it. I mean, Hawkins is kind of like the front runner, dude. I highly doubt he's going to lose the Green Party nomination. In fact, it's very likely that Howie Hawkins is going to be the Green Party nominee, just based on logistics of the Green Party and how it runs their nomination, and how just third parties in general run their nominations. But I mean, I'm gonna give the other Greens a chance. Maybe one of them will lead an insurgents campaign and they'll surprise me. And, in fact, I'm actually making a vow, because I've made kind of like interesting promises and stuff to other Greens. Like, at one point I wanted to host a Green Party presidential debate. I don't think that's gonna happen though, because I don't really have that much of the tech skills. And I've kind of promised one of the candidates that I would actually go over and talk to all the candidates and give them like an interview on my show. I will make this vow. I will try to get every Green Party presidential candidate to be on my show. And just because Howie's kind of like a mile ahead of everyone else, and there's also like possible favoritism within his campaign, possibly, I will do Howie Hawkins last. I've already done Schlockman, I've already done Synonym. I tried to do Alan Augustin, but he dropped out. So, let's see who will be next. I don't know. That's pretty much all I gotta say about that in regard. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Quora, or check out my articles on the Independent Political Report.